This is Finishing My Coffee, episode 2, What I Learned in Therapy edition. So, this is I Turned 30 and What I Learned in Therapy. What I learned in therapy in general is that healing is tricky. Healing isn't linear. Healing is ongoing. One second. So, yes, I turned 30 and I realized, not even just turning 30 made me realize these things. Just over the course of therapy, I've learned quite a bit of things about myself. So, I'm going to have a few listed, and I'm going to try to keep up because I have to keep this video like 20 minutes and under. So, yeah. So the first one is, I kept telling my therapist, like, I used to be a social butterfly. I love talking with people, like meeting new people, going, like making all these friends. And so I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm changing, And so her words verbatim was, you're no longer in performance mode. And I was like, I need you to expand on that. And she was saying, when you have so much trauma and things that you are like working through, healing from, we often adapt to certain identities or characteristics that are not us. So now I am a very talkative person. I do feel like I can be social, but in the capacity that I was in high school and into my like beginning stages of college, it looks very different now. Like, I was willing to be anybody's friend, right? It's just like everything came so fast. I opened up really easy. Like, I will tell you like something personal within us being friends in a short span of time. Like, and I hate to say that now because I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh. But that's literally what it, like, yeah. It was almost like I gave everything up front so fast. And that's like the best way I could put it. And I didn't need to do that, right? I don't do that. I feel like these days at 30, and I'm only putting so much emphasis on 30 because I feel like 30 is such a big milestone. I'm grateful to be here. God is good. I just feel like 30 is just such like it's not a scary number, but it's like 30. I was just 21. 30? So I feel like I'm putting emphasis on it, but it's not in a negative way. It's just like, I'm 30 and I don't do that. I'm 30 and it's gonna take a lot for you to get that out of me. Like, you have to be in my inner circle to even know such things about me, such personal things about me now. I don't use the word friend loosely. If you're not like a friend, which I feel like someone a little bit closer, someone that I talk to throughout the week a little bit more, or even less. Like, we don't have to talk every day, but somebody who has more of like more of an insight to me. That is the term friend, I feel like, or an associate. To me, is what you'll be called if you're not a friend, or a homegirl. That's something my dad embedded in me. I used to use the word friend all the time, like my friend. And my dad would be like, "She's not your friend. That's your homegirl. Y'all from the same town. That's a homegirl. There's acquaintances, there's associates, and then there's friends." Like, he's like, that's this chart. So I used to think like something's wrong with him, but when you're younger, you're like, you're just talking, but it all makes sense. Like, no, there are these labels for a reason, right? So I feel like that was one big takeaway of pulling off these masks, like plural, because I had many that I was masking and wearing, and that one was one of them, like being this social butterfly. And then another one was like, I was like, my husband always calls me mean, because he does. He always be like, you're mean. And of course, I don't see it. I'm like, no, I'm kind and I'm nice. And then kind and nice are there's two different definitions. Okay, while they're in the same neighborhood, they two different houses, right? So I am mean. I am. I painted myself like, no, I'm this sweet girl. I don't know. Oh no, like no. I I can sit with myself and say like, no, I'm mean. I can be mean. I have human traits. Like I don't have to pretend like I'm this nice person because I'm actually not. Who's nice all the time, right? So that was like a false sense of myself. Always trying to be kind and always trying to be nice, and that's just not. Nobody's like that all the time. Like, and mean doesn't even have to be, I guess, negative. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm just a little more stern than I thought I was. And I feel like over time I got like that. But in the beginning, I was a people pleaser. Okay? And I'm not. No, like, yeah, I don't feel like I am anymore. But anyway, so that was one. And then that brings me to people pleasing. People pleasing was very easy for me to do and very hard for me to break. I feel like in some aspects, maybe even situational, I still may battle with that. But for the most part, I'm not doing nothing that I don't want to do. I'm not like, and the way my therapist explains it, because I tell her, I'm ready to tell somebody to kiss my ass, you know? And she's like, so you have like, I'm swinging to the opposite side of, you know, people pleasing. People please, people are in the middle, like they'll adjust. There's the other side where it's like, no, I ain't doing nothing. That's me. And I have to find a little balance. But it's like, sometimes it feels good when you feel like you've never been able to like stand up for yourself in a sense. Once you get to that place, that kind of, cause I want to say maybe control over yourself feels good to just tell people, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. It actually inconveniences me. Mine went so far as like, if there was a dentist appointment set and then something came up and I wasn't able to do it, then I was going to try to figure out how to do it anyway, even though I knew in the back of my mind it was not going to work out and it was going to end up being canceled anyway. But because these people on the phone, I feel like I owed some type of oath to, or I didn't want to, what is that? Oh my gosh, it's on my tongue. Disappoint them, then I would just keep the appointment and then end up canceling the appointment anyway. When I could have just canceled it earlier. You know, like that's the life of a people pleaser. It doesn't even have to be people in your circle, in your family. No, it's just like anybody. And that stems from childhood. All from childhood trauma of feeling like you have to get approval from people or be this certain kind of way for these people. So that's where my people pleasing comes from, and it's so steep. Like, oh my gosh. And I have two different I got trauma from my mama's house and I got trauma from my daddy's house. So with my mom, I'm the second, and there's 7 of us. I'm the second oldest. My oldest brother is 2 years older than me. So naturally, we fall into these parental roles, you know, unwanted. And with that, if my older brother, he was very much troublesome, always in trouble. So all the focus shift to him, and I see my mom going through all this stuff, and she's already stressed, and I already have this heightened sense of maturity, this heightened sense of responsibility, this caretaker role, this parental role. Like, I'm the second mama around the house. So for me, I didn't get to mold myself like as a child, right? I was already molded, you know, for somebody else's benefit in a way. So I didn't get a chance to like be bad, you know, or like be a kid or get in trouble for things kids are doing. Like, that wasn't me, you know. I always tried to be good and quiet and nice and kind, and you know, and just did what anybody wanted me to do because trouble was already at home. It was already enough of it. So I didn't want to cause no more. So at 30, I have broken out of that routine that started probably like around the age of 7. Like, you see how long that is? Okay? You see how long I've been in therapy? 9 years, brother. 9 years. And it's taken me this long to realize that these things are actually not me. I actually don't like these things. I actually don't like these people. I don't, yeah. So that was one. People pleasing. And when they say the opposites attract, that is true. But I've also learned through therapy that most of the time you marry or you choose someone who is on the same emotional wavelength as you, right? So while me and my husband may have grew up on different sides of the tracks, we attached or attracted each other off of the same emotional wavelength. Like, and it's so crazy. Because we're in marriage counseling. So we've been in marriage counseling for a while. And so we are pinpointing these things of, oh, so you feel like that? Oh, wow. Oh, wow, well, I feel like that. Oh, you feel like that? Oh, you felt like that as a kid? Oh, wow, I did too. And it's like, you know, that's how we were able to find each other and move in the rapid rate that we did, because we got together really fast, got married really fast. And it was all out of just wanting that companionship. You know, we were looking for the same thing. I think we just moved a little too fast, honestly. And we did not court each other. Like, that's another story for another day, another episode, okay? Kind of crazy. But anywho, so yeah, like, but I was saying all that to say, like, my husband is a people pleaser. And so you got me over here who like, and he like, nah, like, it's no big deal. It's all good. And it's like, I'm ready to fight for him, like, in the physical sense. Like, because no, we don't do that. We're not those people. I'm not. He's still working. He's still finding his footing. So, you know, it's just like, I'm ready to go to bat because he has a heart of gold. And that's me swinging to the other side where it's like, I can see people playing on his intelligence. I can see where people are mistreating him. I can see where, you know, and so it's like, you're going to get this work behind that one. Okay? I cannot like him on some days. Okay? But you better. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So people pleasing. What was the other one? The caretaker role. Now that right there is the big one for me. Because back to what I said, I was the second oldest, and there is 7 of us. So naturally, I am looking for my. I naturally got thrown into the role of a caretaker at a very young age. So now, while I do like to teach, that is something I feel like is embedded in me. And it's so crazy, just like a little side note, like my dad's mom, was a teacher. And then my mom's mom was a teacher. So I feel like maybe that's just a little something in me. I thought that was pretty cool to find out, like, oh wow, my grandmas like to teach. So I really love to teach. My siblings are like my little students. And then I like to sing, so I made me a little choir out of them too. And I was all the things. Like, you hit that. Ooh, all right, now you're gonna go get that extra Pop-Tart, you're gonna hit that note. So much so that I don't know who this song is by. If this video ever blows up, I'm sorry for stealing your song. But I had them down packed on this one song. Oh my gosh, I don't know who it's by. It's like, forgive me, oh Lord, it's me again. I don't know who it's by. I disobeyed your word. I slipped out of your will. Regretful I stand me again. and I go, and then I have them go, get louder. Come on. I lied and told people I wrote that song. But it's okay, because we don't lie no more. But I did tell people I wrote that song. And one time, they sung it for this lady, and she said, you wrote that song? And I said, I sure did. And she was like, I feel like I heard that song before. And I'm like, well, I don't know where you would hear that, because that is an original by me. So, anywho, would you like to hear another song? And she was like, I'm gonna get back to you on that. No, don't do it. Don't even worry about it. Don't try to blow up my spot. I wrote it. That's all you need to know. So yeah, but back to the caretaking role. The caretaking role. Like I said, I like to teach. I like to do all those things, but it was a lot. Being in that role at such a young age, it puts so much responsibility, I feel like, on me. It's crazy. And that's why I operate the way that I do. And I'm working on some of that, but I feel like I've always been like mama bear. And so I have 2 aunts, and we're all like step stools. One's 2 years older than me, one's 1 year older than me, and then there's me. And so they're like the older sisters I never had, and so they always used to be like, you know, you've been a mama since 1995. And it's like, that stuff used to be funny, but it's also so sad, because nobody opts for that role. Like, as a sibling, you're like, okay, there's certain things you probably wouldn't mind doing for your sibling, helping them find a sock or helping them paste their toothbrush, you know, like, that's natural. But for it to be like you had to do it, then yeah, that's different. So the caretaking role for me, I feel like I just naturally was supposed to work with kids, because that's what I grew up doing. I went to trade school for that. I went to college for that. And I've worked in daycare pretty much, I could say, like, all my life. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I unveiled that right before I turned 30. I was just like, on top of it being a lot of stress, like with my own kids, take that factor of my kids being out of it, it's just still a lot. It's that caretaking that I actually do not like. And so I'm going to put a disclaimer right here, because if I ever had any of your kiddos, like if any of my parents come across this, like, I absolutely loved what I did, you know, and it was not kids in particular. It was just the aspect of it, you know. So in the time where I was thriving in it, you know, this is not for y'all. This is not for kids, like, in particular. This is just that word overall. I couldn't fake it no more. I was just like, and I didn't know I was faking it. I was just like, this is a lot. This is, you know, a caretaker role is a lot. You are not just, you know, watching out, making sure kids are safe. You are making sure they're physically safe, making sure that they're fed, making sure that they're changed, making sure that they're, like, that's not a role that I wanted as a kid. That's an identity that was made for me, and I just kept to it. And it's not a role that I wanted to stay in. So with that being said, I have officially closed my daycare because of that role. Not because kids would be, you know, a headache, not because I couldn't do what I wanted. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. And it's so crazy that I held on so long, not to just owning my daycare. I owned my daycare for about 4.5 years, but it also was working in daycare. So, like, I remember telling my husband, like, after my son and I went and worked at daycare, I was like, I don't like this no more. I don't know why I keep going back to it. I don't know why I keep going back to it. I don't know why I keep surfacing or circling back to something that I just don't like. And familiar, you know, that I could do that with my eyes closed. don't necessarily mean I want to do it. And it was just becoming a lot. Like mentally, it was like, I do not want to do this. Mm-mm. So August was my last month, and it was hard to stick with the I'm closing, because I've been there before. I've said it before, and then I went back because I'm like, maybe I was pregnant, so who wouldn't be frustrated and tired and like, no, I'm done. Like, I love caring for my kids. I feel like that is another love language for me. Caring for them and being that person for them. But yeah, no. Others, no. Bless me. Others, no. Nope. And it was definitely just something that I was masking. So talking through that in therapy, it was like a aha moment. It was like I really don't like what I'm doing. Why do I keep chasing something that I don't like? Why do I keep going back to something that I don't want? And I'm like, I can't do it, you know? And then, like, I feel like subconsciously it's back there like, oh, well, I could keep, sorry, y'all, my allergies. That pollen was in the red yesterday. And then it's like subconsciously, it's like, well, I could just keep this or keep that just in case. And I was like, I got rid of everything. I threw everything away. I ain't sell nothing. I ain't want to sell nothing. I threw it away. I threw everything away. The very last day I was open, I threw everything away. I rebought things for my kids, for their learning room. I did all that, but I got my house back. Like, owning a daycare out of your home, let's talk about it. Baby, the parents that I encountered, let's talk about it. The sickness and germs that flow through here, because parents have to go to work, but also parents don't care about sending their sick kids to daycare. Let's talk about it. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like, my house did no longer feel like a house or a home. It felt like what it was being operated. It always smelled like daycare. That got old. Like, I wanted my house back. I wanted my kids to have a room that they could go to and build puzzles and things like that. Like, I got tired of people feeling like they had the right to invade my space, you know, because DHS changed the law and it's like, oh no, parents can come in. You can't have those prohibitors up now like they did with COVID. So you have parents feeling like they could do that. And then you have people just showing up to your house because they heard you on the daycare. Like, my sign sat in the front of my house, and then something one day was like, move your sign, you know? And then I got to doing like, I don't know, it was just weird. I just seen something one day, and then I went to the pedophile website and learned that it's like a couple that live, it was like two that live not too far away. And so I took my sign out my yard. So really, I guess it was just by word of mouth. People can look you up on the DHS locator and find out, you know, all that. And I'm like, people would just pop up. It's 7 o'clock and I got this woman knocking on my door with her baby in a stroller. I'm in the bathroom, okay? Getting ready to shower and get ready for the night. And she got my door talking about, yeah, I heard you on the daycare. I'm talking to her from the bathroom window. Do you see what time it is? Why are you at my door? Why are you at my door? So that was happening a lot, and I was like, I don't know. I can't do it no more. And honestly, it was really the parents too. In addition to like me not wanting to do the caretaker role no more, the parents pushed me over the edge. Okay, I had one parent. I never had a daycare app. Didn't start out with a daycare app because my daycare was like, I didn't mind being personable. I didn't mind you having my number because, you know, there was certain boundaries. Like, you wouldn't text me over the weekend. You wouldn't do stuff like that. You could reach me directly if you needed to get a hold of me about your child, you know, and then it's up to me if I want to respond or not. This particular parent would message me. She would send me 22 pictures. 22 pictures on the weekend of her and her kids at the park. This is where that nice and kind thing was rolling in when I was figuring out I am not it's nice and it's kind. I don't know who would be with you sending me 22 pictures of you and your kids at the park. Because in reality, I don't care that much. I'm sorry. And I thought I set the tone for that, and it didn't matter. Then she was calling me at like 6 or 7 o'clock. And then she was texting me on Saturday morning talking about, did you call DHS on me? There's somebody sitting outside my house. Like, yeah. No. And then people will call in because that tool is just there. Like, one woman toured my house, and it's so crazy. She toured. She was supposed to bring her kids at 2 that day. What made me tell her to keep her kid and maybe she need to find another daycare is she asked me how often was my husband going to be home. Now, I'd already told you at the time me and him was running it together. He's going to be here. And I said, I don't like how that's, a rising problem for you. So I feel you may do better at these other daycares listed in the area. I even gave her other names and numbers and locations. Excuse me. A couple days later, my worker is coming out because she didn't call DHS saying, my husband don't help me. He just sit on the couch and play his game. And that he's live streaming in the room where the kids get changed. When I tell you, it took everything in me not to call DHS back on her and be that person because I was this close. Okay? Because, first of all, your kids is coming up in here looking real dirty. No shoes. And then her daughter didn't even want to go with her. She hid under my table to stay at my daycare. Okay? Off top, that told me something's going on at home. So, I was like, I'm not going to be that person. Vengeance is not mine. Like, this ain't even going to go nowhere. Because what you mean he live streaming where the diapers are changed? Why would you call and make something up like that? So, yeah, that on top of everything else, it just, I couldn't do it. Kudos to everybody who was still thriving and making it work. I cannot. I can't do it. And I feel like entrepreneurship and things like that is just glamorized. It is. It may be freeing. It has its times of freedom. Absolutely. I love that about it. But I feel like it's just glamorized. It's depending on, I guess, who you are, it's to each his own. But it's a lot of work. And I can't say I would never own another business, but I won't own another daycare. I know that. So, yeah. Those are the things that I learned in therapy. I turned 30 and I am no longer a daycare owner. I have so much stress relief. I didn't realize how much stress I was under owning the daycare, and it's gonna be so sad to say, but my 2-year-old, he does cry a lot. He's like a Sour Patch Kid. And so I guess I would be. I was moving a lot. Like, it was just me wearing every cat in here. And so after my daycare has ended, I'm like, I see him smile a lot more. And my time has slowed down. And I love that for me. And I love that for my kids. Like, they don't have to share me. They are not getting the worst end of me because I've had a long day with kids. And they've been here, yeah. So, and I got my house back. I love that part of that. I think I already said that. I absolutely love that part of it. Those are the things I learned in therapy. If you find or have found yourself to be a people pleaser, what's your experience? How are you working on that? I know it don't feel good because who wants to say yes all the time? Even if it puts us at harm's way or detriment or, anything. No one wants to have to say yeah. So I encourage you, if you do feel like you're a people pleaser and you're wanting to work on that, I encourage you to do that because it is freeing on this other side. What else did I talk about? Yeah. If you find yourself in any of those positions that I brought up and talked about from childhood to now, feel free to reach out, comment, all the things. But this is the end of episode 2. Finishing my coffee, what I learned in therapy series. Yeah. So like, comment, subscribe, all the things. I will see you guys for the next episode, which is gonna be pretty good. I am interviewing a couple people. And so if you have ever been ghosted, or if you've been someone to ghost people, this one will be for you. Okay, we're gonna talk about why we ghost. Okay, and so your girl has been known to do it a few times, and so I'm excited to share that. That's gonna probably be like a part 1, part 2, because yeah. But I'm excited. So see you next time.